Listener implied shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to A Face for Radio. I'm Richard Marks.
And I'm Phil Hersh. All right.
Welcome. Happy
Good
Monday evening.
All right.
First Monday of October. My favorite month.
Yeah, well, it's getting a lot cooler where you're at compared to where we're at. So,
well, it was a very balmy, almost 80 degrees today up here.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's quite nice, actually.
Yeah, I would say, especially in October. I was one time in Buffalo, and it was like in the upper 70s. This was back in the late 90s, and they had it was one of those weird Indian summers, as they call it.
Well, that's what we've always had those on Long Island growing up. It was always, it never really got cold till, really like around Thanksgiving.
Interesting.
Cold for us, cold for Floridians.
Oh, heck yeah.
That's like, under 70 degrees, and it's like break out the sweaters and the panic starts.
I had the same issue trying to say the word Floridian the other night. Here I am in New Jersey. I'm performing, doing a murder mystery, my last show, and I got Floridian. Couldn't even spit it out. It was the weirdest thing. Of course, I was saying it in an accent, kind of like Don Johnson, So it was, So it's funny that we both flubbed the same word.
Now, are you still in Jersey now?
No, I'm back. I got back Sunday morning. God, I had to wake up at 4 a.m., catch a 6 a.m. flight. So I was basically sleeping most of the day. Today was more of a recovery mode as well, but I had to organize and get my receipts taken care of. So
you missed all the flooding, the monsoon that hit New York.
Correct. We got some rain, but we didn't get anything like New York whatsoever. And I did see some of that video. It's quite something.
Yeah, I needed a good bath anyway.
You're telling me. Lord have mercy.
Well, we are blessed this evening to have a guest who I have known of for a number of years. I'd like to welcome in Dr. Mitchell Matez from the Biostation. There he is. Welcome.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Thank you.
I first heard of Dr. Matez. I am, I'm going to make a confession here. I have been an avid listener of the Steve Kane show for going on, 6-7 years now. I probably need to have my head examined, don't I? So, and I remember Dr. Matez calling in on a regular basis, almost a daily basis, right? Don't you when they'd run your spot, you would have a little, thing.
I started with Steve Kane show approximately 19 years ago.
Oh my goodness!
And at that
time,
up for well over 10 years, I was calling in 2-3 times a week.
Well,
and we're having some fun.
Yeah, well, still hear. I still hear your ads on occasion. But you don't call in anymore, but I still hear the ads. Brian does a good read for you.
Yeah, he's my biggest fan, which is a good thing.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I had a very lengty conversation with Brian today. We were just kind of, we're friends, as well, and we had a nice chat about the whole podcasting experience and things that he's done to be so successful. And I mentioned that you were going to be on the show tonight. So he says to me, "So what are you going to talk about?" Well, what else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about politics. No, we're going to talk about the Biostation in West Delray.
Yeah,
that is your. So are you the attendant physician there? Is that like you have your own like franchise, so to speak? Is that how it works?
Yeah. Absolutely. When I joined the Biostation, that was a new facility. So we just took my existing practice and moved it into there. We are now expanding nationally and potentially internationally. So it's going well for the Biostation.
I noticed you have quite a few locations. I mean, they're all over Florida naturally, but there's you even have them on cruise ships. I saw.
Yeah, well, we're hoping to be on a lot of cruise ships. Right now, we do some IV lounges on the cruise ships.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty cool. A lot of resorts also. We have an office in the Boca Raton. We have an office in the Grand Wailea in Maui. The Carillon in Miami, which is a lovely facility. So resorts, cruise ships, and freestanding offices. We're in for all of them now.
So, how did the Maui location fare?
Ooh.
The hoopla of the last couple of months.
If people who are familiar with Maui, Grand Wailea is down on the shore, on the south shore, I believe. So that area was okay. The problem was kind of in the middle. It's like as you're heading west, the first place you come is Lahaina, where the airport is.
Sure.
So the Biostation did fine, and they've been pretty involved in trying to help out the first responders. We get the first responders coming in, grabbing IVs and getting juiced up to go back out. Whatever they got to do.
Okay, Phil, your mic's a little bit hot. Can you turn?
Oh, it is?
Yeah, just a little bit. It's a little bit on the hot side there.
Okay, I'll lower the.
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right, is that better?
A little bit more.
Okay, hang on one second. All right, how's that?
Yeah, much better. Much better.
Okay.
Okay, so the title of this podcast, as you see at the top there, is "Sex in Your 60s," and what I guess the big emphasis for the Biostation, really, as it's often marketed on the radio, it's about helping to reverse the aging process, or to help people feel more vital, younger, healthier, stronger, happier. And how does this all, is it all one comprehensive program? Is it, I know there's specific things you can do, but is it kind of like a holistic approach to kind of recapturing, the fountain of youth, I guess you want to say?
For the most part, I would say a little more integrative than necessarily just strictly holistic, but my area of expertise is in hormone replacement, which is really a great way to get to where we want to be in this podcast. Actually, full disclosure, I am over 60. Okay,
as am I.
But what we do with the hormones in particular is actually reverse the aging process. So everybody's heard of menopause, and then most people have heard of andropause, which is the male equivalent to andropause.
I think we're freezing up there.
Yeah, a little bit. I think we froze up.
Yeah. Well, we're okay. I think
we're okay.
Dr. Matez is a little frozen here.
Okay, well, hopefully the microphone didn't go through menopause or micropause. Could happen.
Or cat pause. My cat's back.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That cat. Well, tell you, talk about cat scratch fever. Should have played a little Ted Nugent on request.
Yeah, he's declawed, thankfully, but
yeah.
he's also
great photo, by the way. You took of your cat with the Jack Daniels bottle earlier. That was priceless.
I think we're going to try to load Mitch back in there.
Yeah, well, we can load him, and we can. But that Jack, boy, your cat is so photogenic. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, he really is, and he knows it too, which is what's worse.
Put a jean jacket on your cat like a trucker, and give him a little Jack. My God, I'll tell you, he's going places. He'll put Morris to shame.
I tried to get him to put his arm around the bottle, like he's kind of like grabbing.
Did he kind of swat it towards you?
Nah, he just
Or did he remove the cap quietly while you turned around and
I think he said something along the lines of, "You're not paying me enough."
Oh wow!
You want a full-throated endorsement? You got to pay me better. You got to feed me better.
The Cat Guild.
This dry crap is just not cutting it.
There he is. He's back. Dr. Matez, how are you?
Great. So
yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. It's an internet issue, I think.
Oh, no worries. And the lighting's a little better too. Great. So you were telling us about the actual the menopause and andropause, I guess it is the male version, and how
absolutely.
And yeah, so I'll give you the floor. You can.
All right. So here's the deal. What we're really doing is reversing those processes. The process of menopause and andropause is really the process of aging. And through the therapies that we're using, particularly hormone pellets in particular, we're actually reversing the processes. We're putting people back where they were typically in their late teens into their 20s, which, if you recall back then, all systems are pretty much go at that point in time. People have very few in the way of symptomatic complaints. As far as the topic of discussion this evening, usually, you're ready to go pretty much anytime and every time, and that's what we're doing.
So this manifests itself physically, or does it actually like hit your emotional, your? I mean, are you kind of like all of a sudden?
Every aspect you can think of.
Okay. So in other words, you're thinking about sex all the time. In other words.
Well, here's the deal. If you recall this, when you were 23, all right, give or take a few years, you probably didn't even know what the word libido meant, because you never thought about it. You thought about it pretty much all the time.
Right.
And if you were lucky enough to get to do it, you did it, and then you were instantly thinking about when you're going to do it again. All right. That goes away as we.
Uh-oh. I think we're getting a microphone freeze.
I think I think either his
Houston, we're having a problem.
His Wi-Fi may be
yeah. I don't want to resort to the data plan, because obviously that's going to go through a lot of it. I have two words if you want your libido to get, Lauren Boebert. I mean, need I say more? I almost said Bobbitt. But the Congresswoman, who's quite spicy, we'll talk about that a little later. But man, I saw that image you sent.
Yeah.
I almost went into Bill Clinton's voice there. I couldn't believe it. Holy Mother of God. But anyways, it is what it is. But we'll wait for Dr. Matez to get reloaded, and maybe we'll talk about that. Obviously, someone's libido did work at that theater.
I think his iPhone needs some hormone replacement therapy. What do you think?
I think so, because his phone is going through data pause or something. I don't know. Okay, or Wi-Fi pause.
Well, we're going to try it again.
Yeah. We'll keep going. We'll get the hat trick, as they say up in Canada. No dude. Notice I'm keeping my head down so the banner is just above the head. I feel like I'm in Crestview, Florida, because they have a lot of brick homes up there. And,
I almost went with the brick myself. I thought it'd be kind of funny if we were both bricked out tonight.
Oh, that would be kind of neat. I like the brick. First I had the house, and I said, I'm Canadian, we should do the brick, but it's all good. Thank you, by the way, for the banner. Look at that. faceofhorror.org/2023 / Phil Hersh. Look at that, folks. Votes are free once per day.
Yeah, you're almost over the top, right? We need to be the top.
Now it does say votes today count twice until 11. I'm not sure if that's I think that was last night on that front, but it's all good. Hey, let people vote. Hey, you want to buy a few votes? Go for it. Dr. Matez is back by popular demand.
And every time you come back, the lighting's better. So,
look at that lighting.
I'm sitting on top of the router right now.
Okay.
When I lost it, the message said it's an internet problem. Go closer to the router. So I'm on it.
Okay, you're beautifully lit. I gotta say, wow.
Believe me.
So we were reversing the processes, and what I was really telling you here in a nutshell is anything that you were able to do physically, emotionally, when you're between 18 and 28 is the golden 10 years, you're going to do again if you come in and get this kind of a treatment. I've been on this stuff myself for almost 20 years. I'm 63. I am functioning very similar to the way I did when I was in my 20s, give or take. I mean, I was running around a rugby field getting my butt whooped all the time. I'm not doing that anymore, but I'm playing golf. I'm going to the gym. I'm skiing. I ski a lot. I'm pretty active, and it's not that hard.
Well,
No pun intended.
No
No pun intended. Because if it's not that hard,
should I go there?
Bob
Should I
Dole,
do
you
it?
know?
It's actually, I could get you a second opinion on that if we have to.
No, I
But
believe
it's
you.
actually
Trust me.
very hard.
Well, it's like, like the Michael, that's what she said.
Exactly. Yeah.
It just came out.
I don't want to use that hands-on approach like Jeffrey Toobin.
Hey,
Let
this
me
is the
tell you.
face for radio.
Yeah, it
Everything-
is.
Everything goes.
Yeah,
Everything
you're
goes.
right
Trust
about
me.
that. God, I'll never forget that one.
Wait,
Ooh.
you're not accusing me of the internet going
Not
out
at
on
all.
purpose, right?
Not at all.
Okay.
We see your hand, so it's a good sign.
Really.
Oh
Well,
my
you know,
God.
the only person
I gotta
listen-
lift my hands every so often, even though they're invisible right
Well,
now.
going tubing used to mean you'd be like
Going
on a river or something. Then go.
Yeah, it used to. It had a great meaning. Now forget it. Now people think, "Oh my God, you're such a perv," you know.
Yeah.
That
Well,
is
it's
one
funny.
of the great ones of our lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't
Well, I
make
did a
that,
parody
can't
on
make it
that
up.
too.
It's so ridiculous. It's so
I know.
truth is
And I
stranger
even
than
provided
fiction.
sound effects. But anyway.
So ironically, so when you talk about
Yeah.
like those prime years, 18 to 28, I found in my experience that my early to mid 40s were my peak. I don't know whether I always wonder whether like the nerve endings got worn down a little bit. So I was able to hold out longer because I just felt like I was just kind of like, and when I was, the thing is when like a teenager lasts all of like 10 seconds, right? That's the running joke,
Correct.
Oh, we have a question from our esteemed audience.
Wonderful.
Misty Zucconi? I think it's Zucconi. Is this for men only, or is it also for women?
Oh no, this is for human beings.
Human beings.
And
you have a pulse, you're good.
I expect at some point in the future somebody will start trying it on pets.
Wow.
It's a longevity tool.
Okay.
There's I have not been fortunate enough to ever get into it, but I recognized a long time ago that people will spend enormous amounts of money on their pets that they would not spend on themselves.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure that people have been searching for a long time for ways to increase lifespan of their pets. So.
Oh, right, but
it's coming.
But not necessarily make them any hornier. You don't need a
because
you don't need your pit bull.
I mean, they call dogs a dog for a reason.
24/7 on your leg,
Yeah, go. All of a sudden, your dog impersonates Bill Clinton.
I wouldn't be surprised if dog breeders haven't potentially used testosterone.
Oh well, right. It's breeders, especially, right? Keep cranking out those poodles.
I don't know. I couldn't really say, but it's possible.
Well,
but in answer to your point there, real quickly, everybody's a little different. I think most people would see their peak performance to be somewhere in their 40s, but the reality of it is, it really is in your 20s.
Yeah, well, it certainly feels more intense then. I'll say that. I mean, those early days, it was like like fireworks going off every time. But
and the big thing about that then is, I mentioned this before, is as soon as you get done, you're thinking about it, you're ready to go. That's the biggest difference, really.
Yeah, I think in your 60s, it's good to just get the one out and get a good night's sleep afterwards.
Yes. Well, and I'll tell you, to be honest with you, with most people, even with the help, it's pretty much a one and done by the time you're in your 60s.
Yeah, it's like been there, done that. It's like, what's the point? Is it going to be any better the second time when you're that age?
Pushed it and you really, if you pushed it, you really went at it, you probably would be able to. I'd put it that way.
It's a two-way street. So, you never know if the other person is so inclined and wants to restart
it goes back to the original question there. Is it for both? It's probably one of the best ways we get patients is spouses. One spouse comes, now suddenly in a period of a few months, that spouse's libido and ability to act on said libido has leapfrogged the other spouse.
So it can benefit people in their 50s. We just had another question. Country Corners Gazette.
Yeah.
That was the person's name.
Yeah, and I think did you catch the question? I missed it.
About, is it beneficial for people in their 50s? So if you are in your 50s, could it be beneficial? Thank you, Country Corners Gazette. I like the name.
Yes, thank you for your
Reminds me of
It is beneficial no matter what age you are in if you are either hormonally depleted or imbalanced.
right.
I first started doing this about 20 years ago. I'd say the average age of patients came through my door was roughly upper 50s through upper 60s, maybe.
okay.
Over 20 years, that has fallen at least 10, 15 years on the average. A lot of that has to do with environment. We're eating, breathing, drinking poison estrogens all day long.
Yeah.
And Tucker Carlson did a documentary on this, the lowering of testosterone levels in human males. And it's pretty remarkable, actually. So this is for any age person. I have, although very unusually, I have had a couple of teenagers over the years.
Wow.
And I have at least a dozen or more octogenarians in the practice right now, probably more if I went back and really looked.
Well, I think there's some evidence. Well, obviously the replacement birth rate in the West, especially, is dangerously low, and it's probably largely due to the diet. And now a lot of people will argue with me about this, but the presence of a lot of soy, which is like a precursor to producing estrogen in males, of course, I imagine that can't be helpful.
No. Well, let me. Soy actually is a phytoestrogens, is what it's called. It's actually a plant. There's plant-based estrogens in the soy.
Oh, so that's even worse then.
Well, it depends on who you talk to. You know, some people think that's a
Right.
good, healthy, because it's a naturally occurring estrogen. But in reality of it is, there's only 3 naturally occurring estrogens in the human female. Therefore, soy would not be natural. And in the male, there are the same. And let me change that for you. I'm sorry. There's only 3 naturally occurring estrogens in human being, and soy would not be one of them. But it happens to be effective as a supplement in some people for controlling some symptoms and things.
Oh,
but
okay.
In
But I know it's also
general, you're getting plenty of poison estrogens out of the environment.
Well, men have
lost you guys
estrogen
again.
anyway naturally. I think we
Uh-oh.
we still have you. I still
We have you. We hear you.
Yeah. So but it's all about the balance of. I mean, obviously, you want to have the predominant hormone be testosterone and not have your estrogen levels overtake
absolutely spot on. In fact, one of the goals that I will review with the men when they first come in, a 50-to-1 balance of testosterone to estrogen is the youthful balance. The urology world, unfortunately, doesn't recognize this. I'm not sure why, but the falling of testosterone creates a buildup of visceral fat in the aging male, in the visceral fat being around your organs. The fat cells is where you convert the testosterone into estrogen. So the aging male is lowering his testosterone and raising his estrogen. That is the aging process, period. My opinion. We reverse that. We make that ratio back to 50-to-1. Everybody feels like $1 million.
Does this involve the same question, Mr. Gazette? Does it involve pills or shots?
I do not prescribe oral hormones to anybody. Your body is specifically designed to have your hormones produced by your gonads, which would be testicles or ovaries, and expressed directly into the bloodstream, used, and then whatever's residual gets metabolized by the liver and excreted. If you take those hormones by mouth, they will go directly to the liver first before they get into your bloodstream, because you have 2 sets of veins. One brings the nutrient from your gut to the liver, and that's where they would go. Then it gets metabolized and put into the bloodstream. And that process, the body is not designed for. Therefore, the oral hormones become exceedingly dangerous to the human body. All right. Now, the naturally occurring hormones, testosterone, estradiol, estrone, etc., these could be given through creams and gels, injections. In the men, the testosterone is a chemical version of testosterone with the injections. The pellets are clearly the purest method. The pellets that we implant under people's skin are actually pure, what would be called lyophilized hormone. with a very, very small amount of filler, which we now use cholesterol, actually.
Mm.
So the testosterone, aside from the fact that, it helps with libido, is this helpful in terms of like someone that's trying to maintain muscle mass or even build muscle mass in your later years for like just like not so much to be a weightlifter or bodybuilder, but obviously we lose a lot of muscle mass every decade of our lives. What's like you lose about 10% of your muscle mass.
You do. Not just helpful, essential. The only naturally occurring anabolic steroid is testosterone. Testosterone is what you use to build your muscle mass as you grow. It is what you use to build your muscle mass as an adult. It is why most men, women in our generation at this point, if they're not on hormone replacement, have a very hard time building muscle.
And another question from Misty Zucconi: are peptides involved in the process? I think that's what it was.
I believe so.
Peptides are excellent. I view them as adjuvant. Okay, there's probably dozens, if not hundreds, of anti-aging modalities out there right now. This has become very popular in the last few decades. My personal opinion, the base of any really good anti-aging program is hormone replacement. And then the peptides we will use as adjuvant therapies for specific purposes. For good examples here, there are peptides that help people sleep. There are peptides that will actually enhance your libido. There are peptides that are called secretagogues, which help you try to produce growth hormone and put that out. So they are involved, but I do believe the hormone replacement is the basis of where you want to start.
Okay.
Now, how big are these are the implants that you do for men? They're different quantity and different size, right? For the male and the female?
Correct. Yes, the women's pellets are tiny. The estrogen pellets for women are much like saccharin. You guys would know what saccharin is for everybody else there who remembers it. Tiny little things.
Right.
And then the testosterone pellets would be an untreated or uncooked rice grain, basically. So the women's pellets are very small, not terribly involved getting them in. Unfortunately, the men's pellets are rather large. I've been getting them placed under my skin for 17 years. You do get a little bit more of a reaction to it, but men need approximately 10 times the testosterone dose that women would need. So you get a lot of pellets and they're pretty big.
So are the women getting testosterone too, or are they getting the female?
Oh, no, absolutely. Here's the bottom line on that. Testosterone and estrogen and progesterone, for that matter, are human hormones. They occur in different levels and different balances in males versus females.
Right.
But they are all human hormones. There's not really female or male hormones. So the female brain, the 2X chromosome brain, prefers estradiol. That's the fuel. The male or the XY chromosome brain prefers testosterone. So the testosterone to estrogen balance will be much higher in a male. It would be quite the opposite. It would be the estrogen to testosterone in a female.
So these are so the pellets themselves are just one or the other. They're not a mixture of the various hormones that kind of mirror your normal ratio.
Correct. The pellets that we place under the skin are both testosterone and estradiol. Estradiol being the healthy, predominant young person's estrogen.
Right.
Progesterone, we are actually able to give by mouth. It is not necessarily dangerous to the liver, and actually has an advantage, particularly in women. It happens to act as a sleep aid.
Now, how often do these have to be implanted? What's the life cycle or the
average
duration?
is about roughly 4 to 6 months. Now, everybody's different, all right? And the pellets dissolve based on metabolism. So if you are a high metabolism person, you're going to burn through them a whole lot quicker than a low metabolism person. But the average is roughly 4 to 6 months, and that will extend as you age because our metabolism will naturally fall as we age.
So if you're someone who exercises a lot and you're getting your heart rate up, does that have any bearing on it, or it's just strictly?
Absolutely.
Oh, it does.
Definitely. You know, regular activity is going to support a healthy metabolism, and a healthy metabolism is going to make the pellets go quicker. But it's a very reasonable trade-off. You know, low metabolism is generally not thought to be terribly healthy.
Right.
I guess.
Now, are most of these treatments are any of these covered by most insurance plans, or is this strictly kind of an elective
It's
kind of
very
process?
variable. When I started doing this, no insurance plans covered it at all. Today, I think they all do. You know, part of it is we changed the laws in 2014, and part and parcel of this whole Affordable Care Act stuff.
Yep.
The insurance companies are no longer allowed to offer policies that don't have an out-of-network option.
Okay.
So through that, most people can claim out of network. A lot of the doctors will actually bill out of network. We, as a company, we do not accept insurance. And I mostly, and I can vouch for this because I did it myself for years, dealing with the insurance companies is borderline insanity. You know, I spent the first 15 years of my medical life being in surgery. And I spent just as much time fighting to get paid as I did doing actual surgery. It was ridiculous. But the bottom line answer is it is covered. Most people have to get treated and then go solicit their insurance company to get paid back, which turns into a pretty big game. And the insurance companies are extremely adept at making you go away.
Yeah. Well, it's that, like you said, it is. I mean, I'm going through another matter myself with insurance companies. I actually had almost got killed right at that intersection in Lyons and Atlantic about 3 months ago. I had a car accident. I got crashed into by a lady making a turn, and in fact, I had just been next door getting a smoothie at the Nectar place.
You were next. Yeah, it's right next door to my office.
Right next door to your office, and I went out going north up on Lyons, and I got almost head on crashed into.
That particular intersection is a big problem.
It sure is. Yeah.
Somebody forgot to pay somebody when they built that intersection, because I don't know if you noticed, you can't even make a left turn into.
Oh, it's nuts! It's under constant construction, and it's really.
I make a U-turn every single morning there, and I think somebody's gonna. Thank God you're okay, but something's gonna happen in that intersection.
You know, one thing I wanted to ask, and it's kind of related, but it's kind of like maybe on a tangent. Is it true there's some relationship between low testosterone and the higher incidence of prostate cancer?
100%. Absolutely. As you age, your testosterone falls, your risk for prostate cancer goes up. And we had that in the mainstream medical community dead wrong for decades, because we actually had convinced ourselves that it was the cause of prostate cancer, which is ludicrous if you think about it on the surface. If testosterone had a way to cause prostate cancer, we'd be having 18-year-olds coming in every other day with prostate cancer.
Right, because
but it's clearly a disease of aging.
Right, because like I said, most prostate emerges in the 50s and 60s, even later.
Absolutely, and it is, in my opinion, a result of the increasing estrogen levels in men combined with the decreasing testosterone levels. It's that ratio I spoke about a few minutes ago. You will notice if you stick around a lot and look at labs like I do, it tends to occur a little bit more in heavier men. Not, you never say never, never say always, but running high estrogens, I have come to believe, is really the risk factor to the prostate gland.
Well, there's a lot of truth about also men and I guess women too, to some degree, carrying a lot of weight in their like lower waist, that spare tire, so to speak.
Yep.
That it's not just prostate, but other colorectal stuff and
yep. I'm really glad you said that. I want to throw something out real quick for people who are listening here. This has been the myth forever and ever and ever, and it has kept a great deal of women from getting symptomatically better over the years. Well, I can't go on estrogen because it'll make me fat. The science is precisely the opposite. Estrogen does not promote fat deposition. Fat promotes estrogen production. That's the key here. It's a big one.
Yeah.
I popped into my head when you mentioned it, but
Yeah.
for the women who are out there who have resisted getting treated because they think it's going to make them fat, the reason, unfortunately, that they have been depositing fat is they're lowering estrogen and lowering testosterone levels. Well, the body wants to make estrogen if it's a female brain. So the more fat it deposits, the more estrogen it can make.
Well, there's also the myth, or maybe it's not a myth, but about the higher incidence of cardiovascular issues with using testosterone. That's also
total, not only myth, bad science. All right. You got 100 years of medical literature, all of it. Plus, you also have the science of what God gave us in the human body. But you add all that together, it is clearly the nectar of the human body,
right.
Period.
Yeah, it just makes perfect sense. If you're reversing the aging process, all those age-related maladies that you suffer from should be less incidental, right? I mean,
listen, I put this very bluntly. I've been pumping people full of estrogen and testosterone for 20 years. I have an extremely low cancer rate in my practice. There are people that are still going to get cancer. This does not prevent it. It does definitely lower the risks. But I will suggest to you that the rate is low, and I'd have to really go back and sit and think, but I don't think I've had a person pass away from cancer that I'm aware of.
Well, I guess the most important question of all, and this is related to me. If I start doing this testosterone therapy, will it make my hair grow back? You think?
Nope.
No.
It will stop. Here's what it will do. It will arrest your hair loss. So you will know from this point forward, that's what you're going to look like. It'll also, you ready for this one? It'll also stop your bone loss. So the morbid joke that I make sometimes when I'm doing consultations is, if you get on this treatment, you can buy your box now because you know exactly the height you're going to be and you know how much hair you're going to have for the pillow.
All right.
But this is true. This is cool. Everybody we treat, we stop the hair loss. It's really neat. No matter what your genetics are, there is clearly a hormonal issue. Now, we cannot get back the hair you lost because that's follicular damage. The hair you lose in the process of getting better with the hormones is all hormonal, and that all comes back. And then your hair starts growing like a weed again because it grows like you're 22.
Like mine.
Yeah. Phil's blessed.
Listen, I have pretty significant male pattern balding. My father has a permanent yarmulke going on here.
Oh, wow.
He's 96. God bless him. So he's allowed to. My brother is 4 years younger than me. He's been shaving his head for a decade already.
Jeez.
I started with the receding hairline and all. And at 40 something, 44, 45, I started treating myself with testosterone properly. And I now have not lost hair in 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It's one of the
I'm
really
lucky.
cool side effects.
I mean, I'm in my mid-50s.
Yeah, men in my family, we're not meant to have hair in their heads.
That's a beautiful thing. You don't.
And everyone's bald in my family, which is weird.
A lot of people, I don't know if they've ever proven this, but there's a lot of people that believe that genetic male pattern balding also gives you the heart disease genetics. I haven't seen that be really true in practice. I think I've seen plenty of people with full heads of hair have problems, but it's something that they used to think.
Right.
Well,
I'm not. I'm a little bald, but.
Well.
All right, here we go.
Phil's a baby yet. He's still in his 50s.
Yeah, that's true for now, mid-50s. So
yeah, he'll be coming soon.
That's right.
I will have to check it out. Maybe I could be a model for you guys. Oh, there it is. Look at that, the Biostation.
That's there's a location there on Lyons in Atlantic.
I'm gonna see if I can look past it.
So Mitch, what's your contact info? What's the best number for people to call and set up a consultation?
Something, I have to plead ignorance to the main number, unfortunately. So I would say the website. We have a direct line into my office that I use. However, if you really looking to make an appointment, come in and see what was going on, I would definitely refer anybody to our website, Biostation, thebiostation.com, and there's contact information on there. You want to contact the main numbers, and then they will direct you to the appropriate locations.
Now, I noticed that you also do a lot of other supplemental shots, just for basically what are they, B12 and all those kinds of shots that you people like to do just for.
Absolutely. There's a wide array of nutrient, vitamin, mineral IVs that you can avail yourself of. Some of them are just for general health purposes. A lot of them are for purpose. There's, athletic enhancement IVs, performance enhancement IVs. There's calming IVs. And then there's also some, very specific medical IV therapies. We do, eliminating metals from the blood, intravenous antioxidation, which is pretty cool stuff. The IVs are pretty cool. That's what we do on the cruise ships that you mentioned.
And the question, can these be ordered online? One of our viewers had just asked if they could be, any of these treatments could be ordered online. I guess you would really need to come in.
No.
Yeah, you'd have to come
this
in
is
consultation.
Testosterone is a class 3 controlled substance. That's the same class as opioids.
Wow.
So you, if you do, or if you are able to locate it on the internet, it is illegal. No doubt about it. And
I'd question. I'd be a little at that point. I'd be a little bit nervous.
You definitely need a
buying
prescription
something
for these therapies. And
yeah.
My advice would be, don't do this without a very experienced physician. I do, I'm going to tout my head a little bit here. I was the first guy in South Florida to put these pellets in people. And for about 5 years, nobody else was doing it. You could get pellets 15 times on your way home tonight. You follow me here? People are putting them in all over the place. If you know what you're doing, it's the best thing in the world. If you don't know what you're doing, it can be a big problem. I get, from time to time, I have people that stray and they all come back.
Good to know.
Well, we should also take a quick little break for our sponsors.
Well, Mitch, we'll let you go. And thank you for taking some time this evening and really educating us and letting the people know. It was a lot of fun, and I hope we can do this again sometime. There you go. Even the vitamin B
Misty,
shot.
one more question. Even the vitamin B shots, or
yeah. I don't think you can. I don't think you can get those in the mail.
B12.
Sure.
I don't know. You know what? That's an interesting question. I don't know the answer to that. B12. I do believe to get it injected, I believe it is by prescription, but I'm not 100% clear on that one. I have to apologize.
Yeah. Well, I asked the person to look up the biostation, especially Mitch's location, and speak to the person at the counter, the receptionist, or one of the. Are they nurses there? Are they actual nurses, or?
We have everything you could think of, from receptionists all the way up to physicians. We have nurse practitioners, physicians assistants, RNs, LPNs, MAs.
So give them a call, look them up, give them a call. They'll sure answer all your questions, and get in and meet with Dr. Mitch here. I'm sure he's, as you can tell, he's got a great bedside manner here. I'm sure everybody loves Dr. Mitch. Get in there and treat yourself a little better, turn that clock around, get it going the other way.
Turn that beat around, if you can quote the late Vicky Sue Robinson.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm going to go out in the living room and watch the rest of the show.
You bet.
All right.
Thanks, Doc. Great seeing you.
It's been a pleasure.
Let's go to our commercials, and we'll be right back. Phil's got something he'd like to run by us, and we'll see you in a few.
Awesome.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back.
The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a MyPillow or not, you need to get the brand new MyPillow 2.0. Call or go to MyPillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Visit MyPillow.com.
Hunter's Blend Coffee, premium coffee for freedom-loving Americans. Many coffee importers view the world very differently than you do and would support lobbyists that fight against the Second Amendment, hunting, and our God-given freedoms. No matter where you buy your coffee or who roasts it, someone had to import the green coffee beans. Well, we are the coffee buyer, importer, and roaster. So from the farmer to your mug, you can feel confident that your morning coffee has been safely in the hands of patriots. Hunter's Blend Coffee. All right, we are back.
We're back. So Phil's got something really fun going on here. He's got a competition that he is in. Phil, why don't you take the floor?
Yeah, I certainly will. Thank you kindly. Well, it's the name of the site. It's called faceofhorror.org. And my personal link is faceofhorror.org/2023/Phil, PHIL, dash Hersh, HERSH. So you can vote one time per day. It's free. If you are inclined and would like to make a donation, you can buy multiple votes. And you are also helping Be Positive. It is an organization. They help out children who have cancer. The person who founded it, his son, unfortunately did succumb to cancer, and he had a very rare blood type, hence the reason they called it Be Positive. Of course, it has a double entendre in terms of multiple meanings, but it's pretty good. Right now, I've slipped to 8th place, so I've got 3 more days. I've got till October 5th to try to get my act together here, and hopefully we'll get a lot of votes in the process. So the key right now is to try to make it to the top 5. And
okay, so let's push them over the top, folks.
Amen. We appreciate that kindly. And if I do win, by the way, drum roll, I will end up working with Kane Hodder. That is Jason from Friday the 13th, and also win $13,000 unlucky dollars in the process. So not too shabby.
Very good. Hey, so we have a picture of a congresswoman.
Oh,
there she is.
Sweet Jesus.
This is actually an ad for that new dating website. I believe it's called grope.com.
Yes.
And,
wow. Grope and change.
And while I say that jokingly, I actually when I posted that as a joke, apparently there actually is a grope.com. And no I didn't click on it, but it was an actual hyperlink to the website grope.com. So God knows what kind of things you'll see on there.
Well,
I didn't look. I swear.
Perhaps that gentleman went to the Biostation because his libido was obviously in. Well, his flag was at full staff.
Oh my God! Well, sure. Her hand is. Anyway, so this is what your tax dollars and votes are paying for, folks. Yeah. I mean, I know that picture's a little bit grainy, but treat yourself to the internet. There's plenty of. I think it's TMZ's got this thing.
Oh, I'm sure. And her hand is
in high definition, if you want to see it that closely.
She had a very hands-on approach in terms of her date. And she was checking out the jewels, all right. No doubt about that.
Needless to say, he has his hands full with Lauren Boebert.
He does. And apparently he made a lot of memories that night.
Yes, yeah. So, boy, what... Is this country just like circling the drain or what?
Yeah, we're like Weimar, man. I'm telling you, on so many levels.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Really are circling the wagons.
Just pull the chain, flush us down.
Yep.
God knows where, we'll come up the other end.
I
look
like
at that.
those shirts, by the way.
Yeah, those
Very
are
nice.
that is the new shirt from Hunter's Blend. Mine will be arriving next week with my 5-pound bag of Java rum. I switched because my wife loves that stuff. So I'll show a picture of the monster bag when it arrives earlier, for next week's show.
Well, should I ever be in Ohio visiting, I will have to stop by for some coffee, as they say.
Okay, well, and then there's Miles Franklin. This is their weekly special. Now, Silver got absolutely punished today, and so please tell you this is a great deal. I mean, those are Australian kangaroos. Those are 1 ounces, $3.15 over spot. Silver got nailed by 5% today. It's all kinds of manipulation with the Comex, and it's a lot of bullshit. Trust me. Get the silver in your hand. If in your hand, you own it. No counterparty risk. That's Miles Franklin, milesfranklin.com. Info@Miles Franklin. Put in Face for Radio or contact the show. Contact our email. I'll send you their inventory list. I'll whatever. I'll do whatever I can to get your best deal. But in your hand, you own it. Your money in the bank. Who knows where that's going? But we're running a little bit late, Phil. Thanks for joining me. I'm great that you made it back to Florida safe and sound. And we'll see you guys next week. Phil, as we are known to do, I'll say to you,
hasta la vista,
baby. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Face for Radio. Check us out next week. I'm Richard Marks.
And I'm Phil Hersh.
Good show.